Okay, I'm sitting here at 122, where 122 used to be, where I grew up. Bill Walton, Moses Malone, they're both here. Right here where you see this camera backing up. 1970, when the Portland Trailblazers came into the league, they really needed a place to integrate these, young adults that in this 99.9% white city, and they had money and they were young and handsome and tall and everything else, so they were protecting their investment. And they basically brought it down to here. I'm just circling the parking lot. Okay, look at this $1 billion view. Now, this here, that was Mount Olivet Church. And the significance of it is just like, oh man, the history. Marcus Garvey spoke there, right there in front of you, what you're seeing. And behind here, where we are here, this is where we used to play tennis, badminton, all kinds of stuff. This is a huge parking lot. It was a 10-foot fence around it. I used to cut the lawn for this guy here at Coast Mirror. The Gypsies live where that empty building is on the right. There's nothing there now. But I'm just going to go around to the front of like where the home was itself. This was Coast Mirror Company right there. Got my first job cutting his grass. And then to the left here, that was McPherson Furnace Supply. And now it's turned into, well, who knows what. But they look like they got some action going here. To the left here, I don't think, as we turn, there was another tree there, but the Columbus Day storm of 1962 knocked it down, see? And so there used to be 4 trees there. And it looks like they got pizza and all kinds of other racket going on there. And I used to cut the grass. Right here where this building is now on our right, that's where Theotis and Bobby Kaysen and Don. Now, Don, see where it says service reception there ahead of you? That's where Don Williams' house was. But it wasn't that far back into the lot. But that's the location. And there on the right, that was Miss Jo Powers. And she made everybody move around here. That property, from what I understand, still belongs in the family. And we used to, and behind that one house on the left, the last one there, is the best peach tree in the world. And the Boyds lived here, went on the right, and directly in front of us, man, that should be a historic place. That's doggone the Brooks home, Walter Brooks. And years later, that's where, like, public enemy number 1, Case's house here on the right, Adolph Spears on the left, Miss White, Mama Shine right there in the right, Miss Lewis on the right there, on the left, the Harrises, Dean's Barbershop, and it's still in the family. And on the left there, where that new building looking thing is, that's where Zebedee lived. And you still had a Pentecostal church there. And then turning here to the right, okay, that big house there, that belonged to a family, and they had a lot of kids and stuff. And here on the right, that was an empty building. And now when that building was poured, I was probably, I don't know, about 15. And Bert Nestel, he owned that property, and he expanded his business. He made syrups for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all of them up in there. And that guy, man, that dude lived in that place. I'm telling you, he was a hard-working guy, and gave me a lot of breaks over it. Always had some odd job to do. I learned more stuff around Bert. now we got youngsters jumping in and out of here. Good, man. It's hard to believe. Now, my dad said one day they're going to be spending $50 a night to stay across the street from this place. You guys mark my word. Okay, now I'm turning the corner here, right? There was homes all in there on the right where the Ford dealership is, and on the left as well. And that's where they used to have a place where the city employees used to post up over there and go to this tavern. And right there on the right in front of us, that was Miss Mert's place. Right in front on the corner, man, they had several properties there. And she bootlegged. And Miss Mert bootlegged alcohol. She sold bottles after hours and whatnot. But look at that, right in front of us, the doggone giant hotel and stuff. And look at the Rose Quarter on the right. I mean, gee. Look how far away I was from all of the gee. I mean, look at this. I'm driving down a Max track. On the left there used to be Demi Brothers Paint. It later became a Maratone. And on the left there, those two houses, there was actually three. One of them's gone. And on the right was the old Catholic school. And this was the box company here on the right, in the back there, Northwest Paper Box. But we're coming back across Broadway. But that's just like where we grew up. And it was a really fun place. That straight ahead in that house, that was where this guy lived, and he used to beat his wife up. And then they had to have a talking with his ass. He had a black Lincoln Continental. Man, it looks like this camera is even picking up this at night. Oh, well. So I'm just kind of looping around the block. That this here, turning to the left here, this is Rodney. And Rodney was like our world. It was the transportation hub through the community, you know, without getting out on the main highway. You know, you're a little kid and you don't want to get out there, even in those days. And now on the right, that's the Desert Motel. And next to that is a house that belonged to Jimmy Rice. And Jimmy Rice was the first African American to win the championship Rose. He won the Rose and got enshrined up at the Rose Quarter up there. You'll see he's still got his rose. Jimmy Rice. He used to cut his lawn. Boy, he was a meticulous son of a gun. On the left, that was Mark and Kyle Gibson. Lived there with their grandparents. On the other left here was the Bradfords. They kept that property a long time. But this is Rodney. And when you were a little kid, oh, wow, this was the spot, Rodney. And on the left here, the house on the corner, I remember my dad painted that house. And it was something, you know, I was a kid, didn't really understand. There's something going on about the money. And next thing I know, man, he said he prayed on it. So, and let's see, was that back there or the next corner? No, that was back there on the left, where this guy used to gamble and stuff, and excuse me, one year somebody blew his garage up with dynamite. And let's see here on the left. Yeah, there was a family here on the left, but that's Darcell's joint right there on the left. He had that property for many, many years. But this was basically, you know, my little world. Coming up in here on the left, there's a house there, fixed televisions. But when you come back as an adult, it's a lot smaller than you expected. And then right here on the left, this is Sacramento, and on the left there, not the first, but the second house there, my parents stayed there after they moved from Schuyler, you know. They stayed there many years. My father stayed there, you know, they stayed there until my father passed away, and the mom got an apartment. And, you know, just going up the street here, you know, this is a few blocks. Right straight ahead there, that's where used to have, is that it? Yeah, that was the Fred Hampton Free Health Clinic. They had medical, dental, they gave out, the Panthers gave out food. And then turning here to the left, this is where they tore out the heart of the community. That's Russell Street. Right there where it says Randall Hospital. Man, they tore out all the homes trying to get to that. They just leveled everything. That was the hub of the community. And then after that, it was over. Going back around here, this is Sloan's. I went to high school with him. He's got a car. It comes out the side of the building there. What kind of bullshit street is this? Columbus Day storm knocked down a little house on the left. Gambling on the left. And then coming down here, that was the doggone Cotton Club there on the right. Not something else, I guess. There was a house here on the left. We used to go and get surplus groceries. What he would do is he would repackage up, you know, he sold stuff with dented cans, and they didn't sell dented cans in the store back in the day, you know. And on the right here, that's the Elks Lodge. This was the first place that, you know, this is what the African-American community had. And on the right there, they had an Army recruiting station. And then, oh man, it looks like this whole house burned up, man. I used to cut the lawn there. Lady gave me like $10 to cut her lawn. I couldn't believe it. I almost died. And on the right, that was a big project. Multiple apartment units that it was owned by Howell and Parliamenter Architects. I'll never forget that, because that's what it said on all them checks they wrote me over the years. You know, a kid just doesn't forget a check. And see, we're just kind of sort of looping around a really small geographic area. This is Rodney Street again, okay? So we're going to go across Rodney this time, and I'm going to show you what was really going on when we were kids. Up here on the left, that old lady, and then Theodis later bought the property, and then it burned down mysteriously. And on the right here, that was Frito-Lay. And right there where they got some kind of handicap bullshit or that sign, there was a dumpster. And in that dumpster, man, was overcooked, burnt, whatever, 9 times the barbecue sauce, potato chips, Frito-Lay. And the smell was great. Because I think they were I think they were cooking that stuff with lard back in those days. And on the right there, that was a little finance company there ahead of us there. Like a household finance or something like that. This is Union. Now it's called Martin Luther King. Okay, this is Union. To me. All right, now, and Sure Fit was there. And just like, look at this. Look at the commerce here in this little small geographic area. I brought a car on the left there. There was a car lot. Victoria Motors. I bought a 1962 Oldsmobile Starfire with a 394 engine for $120. The car didn't have any body damage whatsoever. All right, $20. That was the Mobile there. Everybody worked at that Mobile. That was the hottest spot. Oh my goodness. That spot there was hotter than hot. I worked day shift, swing shift. I never really worked graveyard there too much. That was too rough. And there was a shell there. That's when my boy Barron. Yeah, Barron hung out at the Exxon. You know, not everybody could work at Exxon. You had to be kind of like an elite person to work at Exxon. Couldn't have too many. But then again, they had that dude. No, Gomer worked. He worked at Exxon, but not until he was an old man or something. I don't think he was Exxon material initially, but after he got about 46 years of gas station attendant under his belt, you know, I guess he moved up here. And then I seen him again over at Mobile. So I'm just cruising around this little area, just kind of making a documentary here for you folks. So that's Exxon on the right. Mobile was where the 76 was. And on the left there, where that T-Mobile is, that was Sugar Crest Donuts. And then right next to that is another building, and that was Grand Prix Motors. And I remember as a kid coming by, and they had 5 Mercedes-Benz Gullwing cars when they were brand spanking new. And there were 5 of them right there. I'll never forget that because the doors opened totally different. You know, the Gullwing. And then we had the Chevron here where that Broadway Toyota is. And on the left, there was Broadway Furniture, which is now something else. Ace Hardware. And then again on the right, there's the church. So I just basically have made the loop. Now, right now, I'm about 1,000 feet from my bedroom where I grew up. 1,000 feet. This is about 2,000 feet. Call it 3,000 feet. Now, it's certainly 1 mile to the bridge from where I grew up. On the left, the Memorial Coliseum. They used to have tunnels here where you cross underneath the street. Now we're going across the Broadway Bridge. Oh my God, what have they done to this son of a bitch? Look at this bullshit here. Oh my, I wouldn't have come across this if I'd have known they had this bullshit going on. Jesus Christ. This bridge here is my buddy Don Williams. His father had like a 59 Impala with no mufflers on it. And for 2.5 seconds, when he come across the bridge, the only time the car was quiet. It was just, and then he comes across the bridge and just like, surprised us. I thought the engine had stopped. Oh my goodness, what is this bullshit here? I'll never come back across this bridge even when they finish. Boy, oh boy, look at these highway engineers here. Okay, now, would it be safe to say that that was about 2 miles? Not much more than that. About 2 miles. I remember Barron came across this bridge one time a little bit too fast. Hijackers slid sideways and we spun around and did the 180. I never forget, the boy had 2 spare tires. That's my man. He had 2 spare tires. We went to sleep. And when we woke up in the morning, that boy was puttying and pulled and putting the dent up on the car. He wasn't going to let it hang. It was just a little dent because, you know, he covered that up because, you know, we were going to talk about him when we completed our little adventure. We were going to go back and talk about him, but he didn't want to leave any evidence, so to speak. That's my little presentation here. Let's see, turn this bullshit off.